Doctors and dietitians have told us for decades that fruit is nature's candy. But what if the very fruits you reach for every day are quietly robbing your legs of strength? Imagine taking a bite of pineapple or banana, believing you're doing your body a favor, only to find yourself struggling with stiff knees and aching calves after the simplest walk. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 7 common fruits that can undermine mobility and the simple swaps that will keep your legs strong and pain-free. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell to avoid missing any videos. 1. Pineapple, the silent infiltrator. Meet Margaret, a 74-year-old retired librarian who once championed her bright yellow smoothie as the ultimate anti-inflammatory elixir. She blended fresh pineapple chunks with yogurt every morning, convinced that the bromelain enzyme would soothe her aching joints. Yet over time, she began to notice an odd pattern. Her ankles would burn with a faint heat soon after breakfast, and by mid-morning, her calves felt heavy and tender, as if weighted by invisible stones. At first, she dismissed it as a fleeting discomfort, the inevitable twinges of age, but then the pattern became impossible to ignore. What's happening when seniors like Margaret indulge in this seemingly innocuous fruit? Pineapple, while rich in beneficial enzymes, is also highly acidic and packed with natural sugars. As our bodies age, the delicate network of capillaries that delivers oxygen and nutrients to muscle tissue becomes more fragile. A sudden spike in blood glucose, a surge triggered by the fruit's fructose content, can wreak havoc on these tiny vessels, gradually compromising circulation in the legs. Over weeks and months, that damage accumulates, leaving muscles starved for oxygen and prone to fatigue and soreness. A 2021 review in the Journal of Aging Research confirmed this mechanism, demonstrating that regular consumption of high-fructose fruits can accelerate microvascular decline in older adults, directly contributing to muscle fatigue and joint pain. In practical terms, each sweet pineapple serving acts like a chemical flood that your aging microcirculation struggles to contain. To visualize it another way, imagine bromelain as a well-meaning spy embedded in your meal, promising to neutralize inflammation yet secretly igniting a chemical reaction beneath the surface. It's like drizzling vinegar onto a small ember. At first, the flame seems contained, but then it flares suddenly, catching everything by surprise. If you've ever felt unexplained leg heaviness, stiffness, or a faint burning sensation after enjoying pineapple, consider it your body waving a red flag. This silent infiltrator may have slipped into your routine disguised as a health food, but the early warnings are there if you listen. Your legs depend on clear, steady circulation. So the next time you reach for that morning smoothie, remember Margaret's lesson and ask yourself, is this fruit truly helping, or is it undermining the strength you've worked so hard to preserve? 2. Bananas, the potassium imposter. At 70 years old, Susan had long relied on her favorite post-walk ritual, a ripe banana spread with creamy peanut butter. She believed this combination was the secret to banishing cramps and keeping her muscles spry. But over time, she began to notice a troubling pattern. Within hours of that snack, her knees grew stiff and achy, and by the evening, her feet were puffy and swollen. No amount of rest or topical creams seemed to help, and climbing the stairs in her home felt more like scaling a mountain than a simple daily routine. So what's happening beneath the surface of that innocent yellow snack? Bananas are celebrated for their potassium content, which does aid muscle function. Yet they're also loaded with quick-digesting carbohydrates and natural sugars. Each banana delivers a swift surge of glucose into the bloodstream, prompting your pancreas to release insulin in response. While a younger body can manage these spikes, aging cells often lose some of their insulin sensitivity. As a result, repeated sugar surges can provoke low-grade inflammation, particularly in sensitive joint tissues, where the body's ability to regulate glucose and repair microdamage has slowed. On top of that, bananas naturally encourage fluid retention. For anyone with existing circulatory or cardiac concerns, common issues in later decades, this extra water can accumulate around joints and in lower extremities, adding uncomfortable pressure and stiffness. It's a double whammy. Not only are your joints inflamed from the inflammation triggered by sugar fluxes, but they're also weighed down by excess fluid. These observations aren't just anecdotal. A 2020 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition directly linked high glycemic fruits, bananas among them, to elevated biomarkers of joint inflammation in older adults. Over weeks and months, what feels like a harmless, energy-boosting snack can quietly erode joint comfort and mobility. To picture this in action, imagine each banana as a mini tidal wave rolling onto your shoreline. At first, the wave feels refreshing, cool, energizing, even invigorating. But with each successive wave, the water relentlessly pounds the rocks, your joints, gradually wearing them down until cracks form and the surface crumbles. If you found that everyday activities, rising from a chair, tackling a staircase, or simply standing after a day on your feet, now provoke stiffness and swelling, it may be time to reconsider that daily banana. Your legs deserve stability and strength, not the hidden wear and tear of repeated mini-tidal waves. 3. Grapes, the tiny sugar bombs. At first glance, grapes look like the perfect snack, small, sweet, and endlessly easy to pop into your mouth by the handful. Frank, a spry 68-year-old retiree, discovered the hard way that these innocent-looking fruits can harbor a hidden danger. One evening, after polishing off a bowl of grapes while watching television, he awoke around midnight to a searing, gout-like pain in his big toe. The joint was swollen, hot to the touch, and intolerably tender. Frank had never experienced anything like it and certainly never suspected that his favorite snack could be to blame. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Here's what happens inside your body. Grapes are exceptionally high in fructose, a type of sugar that your liver must process almost exclusively. When you consume fructose faster than your liver can metabolize it, the excess is converted into uric acid. Over time, that uric acid begins to accumulate and crystallize in your joints, most commonly in the toes, ankles, and knees, triggering that notorious, piercing, burning pain that can feel as though your joint is on fire. This isn't just a one-off anecdote. In a 2019 study published in Clinical Rheumatology, researchers demonstrated that older adults who reduced their intake of high-fructose fruits experienced a measurable decrease in blood uric acid levels and reported significant relief from joint pain. The study followed participants over several months and found that simply swapping out 1 serving of grapes per day for a lower fructose alternative cut their gout flare UPS by nearly 30%. To help you visualize the impact, imagine each grape as a stealthy grenade, smooth, unassuming, and deceptively small, yet capable of detonating a wave of inflammation deep within your tissues. You might enjoy the quick, refreshing burst of sweetness, until the hidden explosion of uric acid leaves you wincing in agony at 3 a.m. If you've ever noticed sudden stiffness, a burning sensation in your toes after snacking, or unexplained swelling around your ankles, it could be time to rethink that grape bowl. By choosing fruits lower in fructose, suches or citrus slices, you can savor a sweet treat without rolling the dice on nighttime joint flare UPS. Your legs, and your future self, will thank you for every careful swap. 4. Watermelon, the hydrator with a sting. Watermelon has long been crowned the quintessential symbol of summer, refreshing, juicy, and more than 90% water, but beneath its revitalizing exterior lurks a hidden threat for older adults. Take Evelyn, a sprightly 72-year-old who looked forward to her afternoon slice as a cooling reward after her morning walk. At first, she felt invigorated. The sweet, crisp flesh seemed to quench her thirst and lift her spirits. Yet within weeks, Evelyn noticed she needed extra rest stops along her usual route. Her calves began to burn and swell shortly after eating, making each subsequent step feel heavier than the one before. So why does this hydrating fruit leave seniors feeling anything but quenched? Watermelon registers among the highest glycemic index fruits, meaning its natural sugars flood your bloodstream almost as rapidly as candy. In youth, a robust insulin response quickly escorts that glucose to your cells. But as we age, our insulin sensitivity diminishes, our circulatory system loses some of its resilience. Those swift sugar surges become stress tests your body can no longer pass unscathed. Instead of fueling muscle recovery, they trigger a cascade of inflammation in areas with weaker blood flow. specifically around the ankles, knees, and calves, resulting in that familiar ache, stiffness, and swelling that make every walk feel like a slog. To illustrate the danger, picture a watermelon as a cunning Trojan horse. From the outside, it appears harmlessly hydrating, but once it breaches your defenses, it unloads a sugary payload that infiltrates your bloodstream and incites internal turmoil. Each juicy bite conceals a sugar bomb that strains your aging metabolism and vascular system, chipping away at your leg strength one mouthful at a time. If you've noticed unexpected calf discomfort or persistent ankle swelling after enjoying watermelon, take it as a warning signal rather than a coincidence. Consider swapping in lower glycemic options, like berries or melon's richer cousins, cantaloupe and honeydew, which have more balanced sugar profiles, and pair them with protein or healthy fats to slow absorption. By rethinking your summer snack choices, you can still savor sweetness and stay cool without sacrificing the comfort and mobility that keep you moving forward with confidence. 5. Oranges, the acid attack. At 75, Helen prided herself on starting every day with a tall glass of freshly squeezed orange juice, her ritual for a bolstered immune system and a boost of vitamin C. Yet, instead of waking invigorated, she began experiencing an unwelcome morning greeting: creaky hips that groaned with each step off the bed and tender knees that protested every move. Perplexed, she wondered how something celebrated as heart-healthy and immunity-boosting could leave her joints feeling more fragile than ever. Here's the hidden culprit: citric acid. While oranges deliver a hefty dose of vitamin C, their acidic content can irritate joint tissues already battling inflammation or microdamage. Each sip of orange juice isn't just a nutrient hit, it's a small acidic wash that seeps into your bloodstream, brushing up against sensitive cartilage and synovial membranes. Over time, this repeated irritation can fray those tissues, much like a coarse fabric rubbing against delicate linen. Compounding the issue, oranges' natural sugars provoke swift blood sugar fluctuations. In younger bodies, insulin responds efficiently to these surges, but aging metabolism often struggles to keep pace. The result is a cascade of systemic inflammation that settles in areas of weaker circulation, your hips, knees, and ankles, intensifying stiffness and discomfort. These observations aren't just anecdotal. A 2022 trial in the Journal of Gerontology examined participants with osteoarthritis who consumed citrus fruits daily. Researchers found that those individuals reported a significant increase in joint stiffness and pain scores compared to peers who limited their citrus intake. The study concluded that, for seniors with vulnerable joints, the acidity and sugar spikes of oranges can exacerbate chronic inflammation rather than alleviate it. To visualize the effect, imagine your joints as fine linen sheets. A single drop of spilled coffee leaves a stubborn stain. Over time, multiple spills darken and weaken the fabric. Similarly, each acidic sip leaves microscopic stains of irritation that accumulate until movement becomes a chore rather than a pleasure. If you've noticed unexplained joint tenderness after your morning OJ, consider swapping in a lower acid option, perhaps a handful of berries or a glass of infused water, and pairing your vitamin C boost with a protein or healthy fat to stabilize blood sugar. By choosing wisely, you can still nourish your immune system without subjecting your joints to the slow, silent wear of citric acid. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. 6. Green apples, the sour saboteur. Green apples often earn a reputation as the healthier cousin of their sweeter, red-skinned counterparts, but for seniors, that crisp, tart bite can carry unexpected consequences. Take George, an active 80-year-old who believed his nightly ritual of munching green apple slices before bed was a harmless, low-sugar snack. Instead, he began waking in the early morning with aching thighs and feet that felt as though they were on fire, leaving him hobbling to the bathroom before dawn. So what turns this seemingly innocent fruit into a source of discomfort? First, green apples are rich in malic acid, the compound responsible for their signature sourness. While malic acid can aid younger digestive systems by stimulating saliva and enzyme production, aging gut linings become far more sensitive. That same acid can irritate intestinal walls and joint linings, creating a subtle inflammation that accumulates over time. The result? Tenderness deep in the hips and knees, where fluid pools and tissues strain under repeated acid exposure. But malic acid isn't the only culprit. Hidden natural sugars still lurk within each green apple slice. Those sugars trigger insulin release, and as insulin sensitivity wanes with age, each sugar spike becomes a mini-inflammatory event. Your body's weakening ability to shuttle glucose efficiently means you not only endure that initial irritation from acid, but also face a secondary wave of systemic inflammation, further stressing already vulnerable joints. These effects aren't just theoretical. Gastroenterologists report that malic acid can aggravate tissue inflammation in aging bodies, intensifying joint discomfort and digestive unease. In clinical practice, doctors have observed that older patients who reduce high-acid fruit intake often experience marked improvements in both gut comfort and chronic joint pain. To grasp the impact, picture malic acid as tiny grains of sandpaper. At first, the grit feels imperceptible, but with every chew, those microscopic particles rub against a delicate surface, your gut lining and joint cartilage, until rawness and inflammation become impossible to ignore. If you found yourself tossing and turning with burning feet or waking to stiff thighs, it may be time to rethink that bedtime apple. Consider swapping in lower acid fruits, like pears or plums, or pairing green apple slices with a handful of nuts or a smear of cheese to buffer the acid and slow sugar absorption. By making this simple adjustment, you can reclaim comfortable mornings, steady joints, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing your snack truly works for you, not against you. 7. Mango, the sugar explosion. At 69, Linda couldn't resist the sweet allure of ripe mangoes, helping herself to a luscious slice every afternoon as a sunny, feel-good treat. Yet as weeks turned into months, she began to notice her legs feeling inexplicably heavy, and an unsettling tingling radiated through her feet with each step. Behind that tropical delight lies a hidden mechanism. Mango's high natural sugar content delivers a rapid glucose spike, only to be followed by a sharp crash, an internal roller coaster that your aging body struggles to regulate. These hormonal whiplashes don't just zap your energy. They trigger chronic inflammation in both joints and peripheral nerves, fueling stiffness, pain, and even neuropathic sensations. This isn't hypothetical. A 2018 review in Nutrition Reviews cautioned that ultra-ripe tropical fruits carry heightened risks of inflammatory flares in seniors, urging older adults to exercise caution. To illustrate the impact, picture a mango as a sugar firecracker, bright, fun at first glance, but when it explodes inside, its shock waves rattle your entire joint structure, leaving lingering echoes of discomfort. If this all sounds daunting, take heart. Most of these effects are gradual and silent. You won't notice the slow burn damage until stiffness, swelling, or sharp pain forces you to pay attention. 5 fruits that fortify your legs. Now that you know which fruits to avoid, let's turn the tables and introduce 5 true leg-loving heroes. Swap out the deadly 7 for these powerhouses, and watch your strength, circulation, and comfort soar. 1. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Ever wondered why your morning oatmeal suddenly feels like rocket fuel for your legs? Carol, 73, did too, until she started stirring in a handful of fresh blueberries each sunrise. Within weeks, her afternoon strolls were smoother, and that nagging stiffness in her knees melted away. Berries owe their magic to anthocyanins, potent antioxidants that temper inflammation and supercharge microcirculation. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who ate berries daily showed 25% lower markers of vascular inflammation, meaning oxygen and nutrients reach your muscles more efficiently. 2. Cherries, in moderation. If gout-like flares have ever tormented you, cherries can be a game-changer. These little red gems pack natural anthocyanins that help flush uric acid from your system, soothing sore joints. Robert, 76, credits his nightly ritual of 10 cold cherries with ending the fiery big-toe pangs that used to jolt him awake at 3 a.m. The trick? Moderation. A small handful avoids sugar overload while delivering maximum joint relief. 3. Avocado. Creamy, dreamy, and deceptively powerful. Avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats that act like soft cushions around your joints, reducing friction and regulating blood sugar spikes that fuel inflammation. Mary, 78, began adding half an avocado to her lunchtime salad every day. By month's end, her hip discomfort had all but vanished. A 2021 review in the Nutrition Journal even reported that avocado-enhanced diets lowered systemic inflammation by up to 30% in older adults. 4. Papaya. Meet papain, the digestive enzyme superstar hiding in papaya's tender flesh. This enzyme accelerates protein breakdown, easing digestion and taming inflammatory mediators that stir joint soreness. Elaine, 71, blended papaya into her smoothies each morning, and soon noticed less bloating, crisper digestion, and a surprising drop in muscle cramps. It's proof that what's good for your gut often benefits your joints, too. 5. Pears, with protein or fiber. Seeking gentle sweetness and sustained energy? Pears deliver a low glycemic index that avoids sugar spikes. Pair half a pear with a handful of nuts or a scoop of Greek yogurt, and you've got a balanced snack that steadies blood sugar and wards off inflammation. John, 74, made this swap in place of his usual cookie, and within 2 weeks, his evening leg swelling had noticeably improved. Thanks for sticking with me. Now that you know which 7 fruits to steer clear of and the 5 powerhouse alternatives to embrace, what have you learned so far? Tell me one thing you're taking away from this video and how you'll put it into practice in your daily life. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.